Welcome to Spectrum of Wisdom, where we illuminate the corners of knowledge and bring you insights from across the globe. Today, we're diving into the heart of winter to explore a holiday that has warmed the hearts of millions for centuries, Christmas. From the twinkling lights adorning homes and streets, to the joyous carols filling the air, Christmas is a time of celebration, reflection, and unity. But have you ever wondered about the origins of this beloved holiday? How did it evolve from a religious observance into a global phenomenon celebrated with such fervor and joy? In this special Christmas Day upload, we'll journey through time to uncover the rich history of Christmas. We'll explore its roots, the legends that surround it, and the traditions that have come to define it. From the sacred to the secular, we'll delve into the customs that have shaped the way we celebrate Christmas today. So, grab a cup of hot cocoa, sit back, and join us on this festive journey. Let's unwrap the story of Christmas together, here on Spectrum of Wisdom. Stay tuned. Christmas, a joyous festival celebrated worldwide, marks the birth of Jesus Christ. It's a time of religious and cultural festivities enjoyed by billions. The season of Advent ushers in Christmastide, culminating on Twelfth Night. It's a public holiday in many countries, celebrated by Christians and non-Christians alike. The Nativity of Jesus, as told in the New Testament, recounts his birth in Bethlehem. The date, fixed by the Church in the early 4th century, is December 25th, aligning with the winter solstice. Most Christians celebrate on this day, though some Eastern Christian churches observe it on January 7th. Christmas customs blend pre-Christian, Christian, and secular themes. Traditions include gift-giving, Advent calendars, Christmas music, nativity plays, Christmas cards, church services, festive meals, and decorations like Christmas trees, lights, nativity scenes, garlands, wreaths, mistletoe, and holly. Figures like Santa Claus, Father Christmas, Saint Nicholas, and Christ Kind bring gifts to children. The holiday season boosts economic activity, making Christmas a key sales period for retailers. Christmas is a contraction of Christ's Mass, first recorded as Christesms in 1038. The term originates from Greek Christos, translating to Hebrew Messiah, meaning anointed, and Latin Missa, signifying the celebration of the Eucharist. The variant Christen Mars, meaning Christian Mass, was used in Middle English but is now considered archaic. The abbreviation Christmas, based on the initial letter Chi, in Greek Christos, Christ, is found in print, though some style guides advise against its use. Christmas has been known by various names throughout history. The Anglo-Saxons called the feast midwinter or occasionally Tiwite, from the Latin enfits, meaning birth. In Old English, the term Yule was used for the period of December and January, which eventually became synonymous with Christmas. The term Noel entered English in the late 14th century from the Old French Noël or nail, ultimately derived from the Latin entlis, dis, meaning birth, day. In Slavic traditions, the holiday and the period from Christmas to Epiphany is known as Kolida, a term also associated with pre-Christian Christmas-related rituals. The Gospels of Luke and Matthew recount the birth of Jesus in Bethlehem to the Virgin Mary. According to Luke, Joseph and Mary journeyed from Nazareth to Bethlehem for a census. It was here that Jesus was born and laid in a manger. Angels announced him as a savior for all, leading shepherds to come and adore him. Matthew's Gospel adds that the Magi, guided by a star, traveled to Bethlehem to present gifts to Jesus, proclaimed the King of the Jews. To protect Jesus from King Herod's decree to massacre all boys under 2 years old in Bethlehem, the family escaped to Egypt, eventually returning to Nazareth. The nativity accounts in the Gospels of Matthew and Luke led early Christian writers to propose various dates for the anniversary. By the 2nd century, Christians were already commemorating the birth of Jesus. The chronograph of 354 records a Christmas celebration in Rome 8 days before the calends of January. In the East, the birth of Jesus was celebrated in connection with the Epiphany on January 6th. The feast was introduced in Constantinople in 379, in Antioch by John Chrysostom towards the end of the 4th century, and in Alexandria in the following century. Various factors contributed to the selection of December 25th as a date of celebration. The early church fathers John Chrysostom, Augustine of Hippo, and Jerome attested to the 25th of December as the date of Christmas. In 567, the Council of Tours proclaimed the 12 days from Christmas to Epiphany as a sacred and festive season, and established the duty of Advent fasting in preparation for the feast. Christmas played a role in the Arian controversy of the 4th century. After this controversy, the prominence of the holiday declined for a few centuries. The feast regained prominence after 800 when Charlemagne was crowned emperor on Christmas Day. In Puritan England, Christmas was banned, considered a Catholic invention and associated with misbehavior. It was restored as a legal holiday in England in 1660. In the early 19th century, Christmas festivities and services became widespread with the rise of the Oxford movement in the Church of England. The calculation hypothesis suggests that Christmas, celebrated on December 25th, is 9 months after the Annunciation on March 25th, which marked the conception of Jesus. This hypothesis was proposed by French writer Louis Duchesne in 1889. Adam C. English, a professor of religion, argues for the veracity of December 25th as Jesus' date of birth, tracing the narrative in Luke from Zechariah's ministry in the temple through the Annunciation and the birth of John the Baptist. Early Christians celebrated Jesus' life on a date equivalent to 14 Nisan, Passover, on the local calendar. This feast, referred to as the Quartodeciman, was associated with all major events of Christ's life, especially the Passion. The date of the Passion was moved to Good Friday in 165. The calculation hypothesis is considered academically to be a thoroughly viable hypothesis. It was a traditional Jewish belief that great men were born and died on the same day, so Jesus was considered to have been conceived on March 25th, as he died on March 25th, which was calculated to have coincided with 14 Nisan. In 221, Sextus Julius Africanus gave March 25th as the day of creation and of the conception of Jesus. This conclusion was based on solar symbolism, with March 25th the date of the equinox. As this implies a birth in December, it is sometimes claimed to be the earliest identification of December 25th as the Nativity. December 25th, considered the date of the winter solstice in the Roman calendar, was seen as a fitting day to celebrate Christ's nativity. St. Augustine explained this in a late 4th century sermon, stating that Jesus chose the shortest day, yet the one whence light begins to increase. Jesus was linked to the sun through various biblical passages, including being referred to as the Son of Righteousness, prophesied by Malachi. This solar symbolism could support more than one date of birth. For instance, the Pascha Computers, an anonymous work from 243, linked the idea that creation began at the spring equinox, on March 25th, with the conception or birth of Jesus on March 28th, the day of the creation of the sun in the Genesis account. In the 17th century, Isaac Newton, who was born on December 25th, argued that the date of Christmas may have been selected to correspond with the solstice. Conversely, Stephen Hidgmans of the University of Alberta suggested that it was cosmic symbolism which inspired the church leadership in Rome to elect the southern solstice, December 25th, as the birthday of Christ. The history of religions hypothesis suggests that the church chose December 25th to coincide with Roman festivities honoring the sun god Sol Invictus, established by Aurelian in 274. This theory is supported by a 12th century annotation by Syrian bishop Jacob Bar Salibai, which states that Christians participated in these pagan festivities, leading the church to solemnize the true nativity on the same day. German Protestant Paul Ernst Jablonski argued in 1743 that Christmas was placed on December 25th to correspond with the Roman solar holiday Dies Natalis Solis Invicti, viewing it as a paganization that debased the true church. However, others argue that Emperor Aurelian instituted the holiday of Dies Natalis Solis Invicti to give a pagan significance to a date already important for Christians in Rome. Hermann Usner and others proposed that Christians chose this day because it was the Roman feast celebrating the birthday of Sol Invictus. Modern scholar S.E. Hidgman states that while Christians were aware that pagans called this day the birthday of Sol Invictus, this did not concern them and did not influence their choice of date for Christmas. Thomas J. Talley holds that Roman Emperor Aurelian placed a festival of Sol Invictus on December 25th to compete with the growing rate of the Christian Church, which had already been celebrating Christmas on that date. The history of religion's hypothesis has been challenged by a view based on an old tradition, which suggests that the date of Christmas was fixed at 9 months after March 25th, the date of the vernal equinox, on which the Annunciation was celebrated. Adam C. English, professor of religion at Campbell University, writes that evidence from the 2nd century shows that Christians were already celebrating the birth of the Lord, and that the observance sprang up organically from the authentic devotion of ordinary believers. Hijmans has noted that while the winter solstice on or around December 25th was well established in the Roman imperial calendar, there's no evidence that a religious celebration of Sol on that day predated the celebration of Christmas. Thomas Talley has shown that the Emperor Aurelian's dedication of a temple to the sun god in the Campus Martius, c. 274, probably took place on the birthday of the invincible sun, on December 25th, but the cult of the sun in pagan Rome did not celebrate the winter solstice nor any of the other quarter-tense days. The Oxford Companion to Christian Thought remarks on the uncertainty about the order of precedence between the religious celebrations of the birthday of the unconquered sun and of the birthday of Jesus. It suggests that the hypothesis that December 25th was chosen for celebrating the birth of Jesus on the basis of the belief that his conception occurred on March 25th potentially establishes December 25th as a Christian festival before Aurelian's decree. This decree might have provided for the Christian feast both opportunity and challenge. Many Christmas customs developed independently of the commemoration of Jesus' birth, with some elements potentially having origins in pre-Christian festivals celebrated by pagan populations who were later converted to Christianity. However, other scholars affirm that Christmas customs largely developed in a Christian context. The atmosphere of Christmas has evolved since its inception, from a sometimes raucous, carnival-like state in the Middle Ages, to a tamer family-oriented and children-centered theme introduced in the 19th century. Winter festivals were popular in many European pagan cultures prior to and through the early Christian centuries, due to less agricultural work needed to be done during the winter and an expectation of better weather as spring approached. Celtic winter herbs such as mistletoe and ivy, and the custom of kissing under a mistletoe, are common in modern Christmas celebrations in the English-speaking countries. The pre-Christian Germanic peoples, including the Anglo-Saxons and the Norse, celebrated a winter festival called Yule, held in the late December to early January period. Numerous elements of modern Christmas folk custom and iconography may have originated from Yule, including the Yule log, Yule boar, and the Yule goat. In Eastern Europe, pre-Christian traditions were incorporated into Christmas celebrations, an example being the Colida, which shares parallels with the Christmas carol. In the early Middle Ages, Christmas Day was overshadowed by Epiphany, which focused on the visit of the Magi. However, the medieval calendar was dominated by Christmas-related holidays. The 40 days before Christmas became the 40 Days of St. Martin, now known as Advent. In Italy, former Saturnalian traditions were attached to Advent. These traditions transferred again to the 12 days of Christmas, December 25th to January 5th, a time that appears in the liturgical calendars as Christmastide or 12 Holy Days. The prominence of Christmas Day increased gradually after Charlemagne was crowned emperor on Christmas Day in 800. By the High Middle Ages, the holiday had become so prominent that chroniclers routinely noted where various magnates celebrated Christmas. Christmas during the Middle Ages was a public festival that incorporated ivy, holly, and other evergreens. Christmas gift-giving during the Middle Ages was usually between people with legal relationships, such as tenant and landlord. The annual indulgence in eating, dancing, singing, sporting, and card-playing escalated in England, and by the 17th century the Christmas season featured lavish dinners, elaborate masques, and pageants. In 1607, King James I insisted that a play be acted on Christmas night and that the court indulge in games. It was during the Reformation in 16th century Europe that many Protestants changed the gift bringer to the Christ child or Christkindle, and the date of giving gifts changed from December 6th to Christmas Eve. Following the Protestant Reformation, many new denominations, including the Anglican Church and Lutheran Church, continued to celebrate Christmas. In 1629, the Anglican poet John Milton penned On the Morning of Christ's Nativity, a poem that has since been read by many during Christmastide. However, in 17th century England, some groups such as the Puritans strongly condemned the celebration of Christmas, considering it a Catholic invention and the trappings of popery. In contrast, the established Anglican Church pressed for a more elaborate observance of feasts, penitential seasons, and saints' days. The Catholic Church also responded, promoting the festival in a more religiously oriented form. Following the parliamentarian victory over Charles I during the English Civil War, England's Puritan rulers banned Christmas in 1647. Protests followed as pro-Christmas rioting broke out in several cities, and for weeks Canterbury was controlled by the rioters, who decorated doorways with holly and shouted royalist slogans. The book, The Vindication of Christmas, London, 1652, argued against the Puritans, and makes note of Old English Christmas traditions: dinner, roast apples on the fire, card playing, dances with ploughboys and maidservants, Old Father Christmas, and carol singing. During the ban, semi-clandestine religious services marking Christ's birth continued to be held, and people sang carols in secret. The restoration of King Charles II in 1660 ended the ban on Christmas in England. However, in Scotland, the Presbyterian Church of Scotland discouraged the observance of Christmas, and the Parliament of Scotland officially abolished the observance of Christmas in 1640. It was not until 1871 that Christmas Day was designated a bank holiday in Scotland. In colonial America, Puritans staunchly opposed the observation of Christmas. The Pilgrims of New England spent their first December 25th in the New World working normally. Christmas observance was outlawed in Boston in 1659, but the ban was revoked in 1681 by English Governor Edmund Andros. It was not until the mid-19th century that celebrating Christmas became fashionable in the Boston region. At the same time, Christian residents of Virginia and New York observed the holiday freely. Pennsylvania Dutch settlers, predominantly Moravian settlers of Bethlehem, Nazareth, and Lititz in Pennsylvania and the Wachovia settlements in North Carolina, were enthusiastic celebrators of Christmas. The Moravians in Bethlehem had the first Christmas trees in America as well as the first nativity scenes. During the era of revolutionary France, when the atheistic cult of reason was in power, Christian Christmas religious services were banned and the Three Kings cake was renamed the Equality Cake under anti-clerical government policies. In the early 19th century, Christmas was reimagined as a time of heartfelt celebration. Charles Dickens' novel A Christmas Carol, written in 1843, played a major role in reviving the spirit of Christmas and seasonal merriment, emphasizing family, goodwill, and compassion. Dickens sought to construct Christmas as a family-centered festival of generosity, linking worship and feasting within a context of social reconciliation. This coincided with the appearance of the Oxford movement and the growth of Anglo-Catholicism, which led a revival in traditional rituals and religious observances. The term Scrooge became a synonym for miser, with bah, humbug, dismissive of the festive spirit. In 1843, the first commercial Christmas card was produced by Sir Henry Cole. The revival of the Christmas Carol began with William Sandys's Christmas Carols Ancient and Modern, 1833, with the first appearance in print of The First Noel, I Saw Three Ships, Hark the Herald Angels Sing, and God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, popularized in Dickens' A Christmas Carol. In Britain, the Christmas tree was introduced in the early 19th century by the German-born Queen Charlotte. An image of the British royal family with their Christmas tree at Windsor Castle created a sensation when it was published in the Illustrated London News in 1848. By the 1870s, putting up a Christmas tree had become common in America. In America, interest in Christmas had been revived in the 1820s by several short stories by Washington Irving which appear in his The Sketchbook of Geoffrey Crane, Gent. and Old Christmas. In 1822, Clement Clarke Moore wrote the poem A Visit from St. Nicholas, popularly known by its first line, "'Twas the night before Christmas." The poem helped popularize the tradition of exchanging gifts, and seasonal Christmas shopping began to assume economic importance. In the mid-19th century, the celebration of Christmas began to shift in the US. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow noted a transition state about Christmas here in New England in 1856, with the old Puritan resistance to the holiday gradually softening. By 1860, 14 states, including several from New England, had adopted Christmas as a legal holiday. In Reading, Pennsylvania, even Presbyterian congregations, who had previously ignored Christmas, began to celebrate the occasion. The First Congregational Church of Rockford, Illinois, of Puritan stock, was reported to be preparing for a grand Christmas jubilee in 1864. In 1875, Louis Prang, often called the father of the American Christmas card, introduced the Christmas card to Americans. Finally, on June 28, 1870, Christmas was formally declared a United States federal holiday. During the First World War, particularly in 1914, a series of informal truces took place for Christmas between opposing armies. These truces, organized spontaneously by the soldiers, ranged from promises not to shoot to friendly socializing, gift-giving, and even sport between enemies. These incidents have since become a well-known part of popular memory and are often used to demonstrate the ideals of Christmas. In the UK, up until the 1950s, many Christmas customs were restricted to the upper classes and better-off families. The mass of the population had not adopted many of the Christmas rituals that later became general. Full celebration of a family Christmas with all the trimmings only became widespread with increased prosperity from the 1950s. Under the state atheism of the Soviet Union, after its foundation in 1917, Christmas celebrations were prohibited in public. During the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, the League of Militant Atheists encouraged school pupils to campaign against Christmas traditions. It was not until the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991 that the persecution ended and Orthodox Christmas became a state holiday again for the first time in Russia after 7 decades. In Nazi Germany, propagandists sought to de-emphasize or eliminate altogether the Christian aspects of the holiday. European history professor Joseph Perry wrote that propagandists tirelessly promoted numerous Nazified Christmas songs, which replaced Christian themes with the regime's racial ideologies. As Christmas celebrations began to be held around the world even outside traditional Christian cultures in the 20th century, some Muslim-majority countries subsequently banned the practice of Christmas, claiming it undermines Islam. Christmas Day, a joyous festival celebrated worldwide, brings together people from all walks of life, transcending religious boundaries. Even in regions where Christianity is not the predominant faith, the holiday has found a place in people's hearts, often as a legacy of historical colonial influence, such as in Hong Kong. In countries like Japan, where Christians form a small minority, the festive spirit of Christmas is embraced with enthusiasm. The cultural aspects of the holiday, including gift-giving, decorations, and Christmas trees, have been adopted widely, adding a universal appeal to the celebration. A similar festive atmosphere can be seen in Turkey, a Muslim-majority country with a small Christian population, where Christmas trees and decorations adorn public streets, adding to the holiday cheer. In countries with a strong Christian tradition, Christmas celebrations have evolved to incorporate regional and local cultures, making each celebration unique and vibrant. This blend of tradition and local culture adds a special charm to the holiday season, making it a time of unity, joy, and peace. Christmas Day, including its Eve, holds a special place in the hearts of Christians worldwide. It is celebrated as a festival in the Lutheran churches, a solemnity in the Roman Catholic Church, and a principal feast of the Anglican Communion. While other Christian denominations may not rank their feast days, they still attach significant importance to Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, similar to other Christian feasts like Easter, Ascension Day, and Pentecost. For many Christians, attending a Christmas Eve or Christmas Day church service is a crucial part of acknowledging the Christmas season. In fact, Christmas, along with Easter, sees the highest annual church attendance. A survey in 2010 by Lifeway Christian Resources revealed that 6 out of 10 Americans attend church services during this period. In the United Kingdom, the Church of England reported an estimated attendance of 2.5 million people at Christmas services in 2015. This shows the deep-rooted tradition and importance of Christmas in Christian communities, making it a time of unity, celebration, and spiritual reflection. Nativity scenes, dating back to 10th century Rome, gained popularity through Saint Francis of Assisi in 1223 and quickly spread across Europe. Decorations vary worldwide, from simple cribs to elaborate sets like the vibrant Krakow Sopka in Poland, intricate Italian presepe, and charming Provençal creches in France with hand-painted terracotta figurines, known as santons. Some regions, like Sicily, even host living nativity scenes. The first commercial decorations emerged in Germany in the 1860s. In some places, people compete to create the most unique or realistic nativity scenes, often becoming treasured family heirlooms. The evergreen Christmas tree symbolizes Christ, who offers eternal life, and the lights represent Jesus, the light of the world. Some see the Christmas tree as a Christian adaptation of pagan traditions surrounding the winter solstice, which involved evergreen boughs and tree worship. Saint Boniface, a missionary in Germany, is said to have replaced an oak tree dedicated to Thor with a fir tree, a more fitting object of reverence due to its triangular shape, symbolic of the Trinity. The term Christmas tree first appeared in English in 1835, borrowed from the German language. Since the 16th century, the poinsettia, a native plant from Mexico, has been associated with Christmas, symbolizing the Star of Bethlehem. Other popular holiday plants include holly, mistletoe, red amaryllis, and Christmas cactus. Traditional decorations also include bells, candles, candy canes, stockings, wreaths, and angels. Wreaths and candles in each window are traditional displays, representing the Advent season and the belief that Jesus is the light of the world. Christmas lights and banners are often displayed in towns and shopping areas. Brightly colored paper with Christmas motifs is used for wrapping gifts. In some countries, decorations are traditionally taken down on Twelfth Night. The tradition of the Nativity play is one of the oldest in Christian Christmas celebrations, with the first reenactment of the Nativity of Jesus taking place in AD 1223. This was when Francis of Assisi assembled a nativity scene outside his church in Italy, complete with children singing carols. Each year, the event grew, attracting people from afar to see Francis' depiction of the Nativity, which eventually included drama and music. This tradition spread throughout Europe and remains popular today. Christmas Eve and Christmas Day church services often feature nativity plays, as do schools and theaters. In countries like France, Germany, Mexico, and Spain, nativity plays are often performed outdoors in the streets. The tradition of Christmas hymns began in 4th century Rome with Latin hymns such as Veni Redemptor Gentium by Ambrose, Archbishop of Milan, and Corde Natus Ex Parentis by the Spanish poet Prudentius. In the 9th and 10th centuries, the Christmas sequence, or prose, was introduced in North European monasteries. By the 12th century, the Parisian monk Adam of St. Victor began to derive music from popular songs, introducing something closer to the traditional Christmas carol. Carols, originally communal folk songs sung during celebrations like Harvest Tide, as well as Christmas, began to be sung in church later. Some carols like Personent Hodi, Good King Wenceslas, and In Dulce Jubilo can be traced directly back to the Middle Ages and are among the oldest musical compositions still regularly sung. The singing of carols increased in popularity after the Protestant Reformation, with reformers like Martin Luther writing carols and encouraging their use in worship. The 18th century English reformer Charles Wesley wrote texts for at least 3 Christmas carols, the best known being Hark! The Herald Angels Sing. Non-religious Christmas songs emerged in the late 18th century, with the Welsh melody for Deck the Halls dating from 1794 and the American Jingle Bells copyrighted in 1857. Other popular carols include The First Noel, God Rest You Merry Gentlemen, The Holly and the Ivy, I Saw 3 Ships, In the Bleak Midwinter, Joy to the World, Once in Royal David City, and While Shepherds Watched Their Flocks. In the 19th and 20th centuries, African American spirituals and songs about Christmas became more widely known. An increasing number of seasonal holiday songs were commercially produced in the 20th century, including jazz and blues variations. There was also a revival of interest in early music. One of the most ubiquitous festive songs is We Wish You a Merry Christmas, which originates from the West Country of England in the 1930s. Radio has covered Christmas music from variety shows from the 1940s and 1950s, as well as modern-day stations that exclusively play Christmas music from late November through December 25th. Hollywood movies have featured new Christmas music, such as White Christmas, In Holiday Inn, and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Traditional carols have also been included in Hollywood films, such as Hark! The Herald Angels Sing, in It's a Wonderful Life, 1946, and Silent Night, in A Christmas Story. A special Christmas family meal is indeed a significant part of the holiday celebration, and the food served varies greatly from country to country. In some regions, like Sicily, a special meal for Christmas Eve includes 12 kinds of fish. In the United Kingdom and countries influenced by its traditions, a standard Christmas meal typically includes turkey, goose, or other large bird, gravy, potatoes, vegetables, sometimes bread and cider. Special desserts such as Christmas pudding, mince pies, Christmas cake, panettone, and Yule log cake are also prepared. In Central Europe, the traditional Christmas meal is fried carp or other fish. These diverse traditions contribute to the festive and communal spirit of Christmas. Christmas cards, featuring illustrated messages of greeting, are traditionally exchanged between friends and family members in the weeks leading up to Christmas Day. The tradition dates back to 1843 when the first commercial Christmas card, wishing a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, was produced by Sir Henry Cole in London. With the rise of digital communication, the trend of exchanging e-cards has also gained popularity. Christmas cards are often adorned with artwork that is commercially designed and seasonally relevant. The design might directly relate to the Christmas narrative, featuring depictions of the Nativity of Jesus, or Christian symbols such as the Star of Bethlehem or a white dove, symbolizing both the Holy Spirit and peace on earth. Secular cards may depict Christmas traditions, mythical figures like Santa Claus, or objects associated with Christmas such as candles, holly, and baubles. Some cards even feature images associated with the winter season, such as snow scenes and northern winter wildlife. While some prefer cards with a poem, prayer, or biblical verse, others opt for an all-inclusive, season's greetings, distancing themselves from religious connotations. Regardless of the design or message, the exchange of Christmas cards remains a cherished tradition during the festive season. Indeed, many nations issue commemorative stamps during the Christmas season. These stamps are often used by postal customers to mail Christmas cards and are a favorite among philatelists. Unlike Christmas seals, these stamps are regular postage stamps and are valid for postage year-round. They typically go on sale sometime between early October and early December and are printed in large quantities. This tradition adds a festive touch to the holiday season and makes the act of sending and receiving mail even more special. Exchanging gifts is indeed a central part of modern Christmas celebrations, making it a highly profitable time for retailers and businesses worldwide. The tradition of gift-giving on Christmas is associated with Saint Nicholas and the gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh given to baby Jesus by the Magi. The Roman celebration of Saturnalia, which also involved gift-giving, may have influenced Christian customs. However, the Christian belief in the Incarnation established the giving and receiving of gifts as a key aspect of the Christmas celebration. Some scholars, like Thomas J. Talley, suggest that the Roman Emperor Aurelian may have established an alternate festival on December 25 to compete with the growing Christian Church, which had already been celebrating Christmas on that date. A variety of figures are associated with Christmas and the tradition of gift-giving. These include Father Christmas, also known as Santa Claus, derived from the Dutch for Saint Nicholas, Père Noël, and the Weihnachtmann, Saint Nicholas or Sinterklaas, the Christkind, Kris Kringle, Joulupukki, Toont Nis, Babo Natale, Saint Basil, and Dead Morrows. The Scandinavian Toont, also called Nis, is sometimes depicted as a gnome instead of Santa Claus. The most recognized of these figures today is Santa Claus, who has diverse origins. The name Santa Claus can be traced back to the Dutch Sinterklaas, which means simply Saint Nicholas. Nicholas was a 4th century Greek bishop of Myra, a city in the Roman province of Lycia, whose ruins are 3 kilometers from modern Demre in southwest Turkey. Among other saintly attributes, he was noted for the care of children, generosity, and the giving of gifts. His feast day, December 6th, came to be celebrated in many countries with the giving of gifts. In several Latin American countries, while Santa makes the toys, he then gives them to the baby Jesus, who is the one who actually delivers them to the children's homes. In South Tyrol, Italy, Austria, Czech Republic, southern Germany, Hungary, Liechtenstein, Slovakia, and Switzerland, the Christkind brings the presents. Greek children get their presents from Saint Basil on New Year's Eve. The German Saint Nikolaus is not identical with the Weihnachtsmann, who is the German version of Santa Claus, Father Christmas. Saint Nikolaus wears a bishop's dress and still brings small gifts, usually candies, nuts, and fruits, on December 6th and is accompanied by Knecht Ruprecht. Multiple gift-giver figures exist in Poland, varying between regions and individual families. Saint Nicholas, Święty Mikołaj, dominates central and northeast areas. The Starman, Gwiazdor, is most common in Greater Poland. Baby Jesus, Dzieciatko, is unique to Upper Silesia, with the little star, Gwiazdka, and the little angel, Aniolek, being common in the south and the southeast. Grandfather Frost, Dziadek Mroz, is less commonly accepted in some areas of eastern Poland. It is worth noting that across all of Poland, Saint Nicholas is the gift giver on the Saint Nicholas Day on December 6th. Indeed, the celebration of Christmas varies among different branches of Christianity due to differences in calendars. Some jurisdictions of the Eastern Orthodox Church, including those of Russia, Georgia, Macedonia, Montenegro, Serbia, and Jerusalem, mark feasts using the older Julian calendar. As of 2023, there is a difference of 13 days between the Julian calendar and the modern Gregorian calendar. As a result, these Orthodox Christians mark December 25th, and thus Christmas, on the day that is internationally considered to be January 7th. However, other Orthodox Christians, such as those belonging to the jurisdictions of Constantinople, Bulgaria, Greece, Romania, Ansh, Alexandria, Albania, Cyprus, Finland, and the Orthodox Church in America, among others, began using the revised Julian calendar, which currently corresponds exactly to the Gregorian calendar. Therefore, these Orthodox Christians mark December 25th, and thus Christmas, on the same day that is internationally considered to be December 25th. The Armenian Apostolic Church continues the original ancient Eastern Christian practice of celebrating the birth of Christ not as a separate holiday, but on the same day as the celebration of his baptism, Theophany, which is on January 6th. This is a public holiday in Armenia, and it is held on the same day that is internationally considered to be January 6th. However, the Armenian Patriarchate of Jerusalem maintains the traditional Armenian custom of celebrating the birth of Christ on the same day as Theophany, January 6th, but uses the Julian calendar for the determination of that date. As a result, this church celebrates Christmas, more properly called Theophany, on the day that is considered January 19th on the Gregorian calendar in use by the majority of the world. This diversity in celebration dates reflects the rich variety of traditions within Christianity. Christmas is indeed a peak selling season for retailers in many nations. Sales increase dramatically as people purchase gifts, decorations, and supplies to celebrate. In the United States, the Christmas shopping season starts as early as October. In Canada, merchants begin advertising campaigns just before Halloween, October 31st, and step up their marketing following Remembrance Day on November 11th. In the UK and Ireland, the Christmas shopping season starts from mid-November, around the time when high street Christmas lights are turned on. In the United States, it has been calculated that a quarter of all personal spending takes place during the Christmas holiday shopping season. Figures from the US Census Bureau reveal that expenditure in department stores nationwide rose from $20.8 billion in November 2004 to $31.9 billion in December 2004, an increase of 54%. In other sectors, the pre-Christmas increase in spending was even greater, there being a November-December buying surge of 100% in bookstores and 170% in jewelry stores. Industries completely dependent on Christmas include Christmas cards, of which 1.9 billion are sent in the United States each year, and live Christmas trees, of which 20.8 million were cut in the US in 2002. For 2019, the average US adult was projected to spend $920 on gifts alone. In the UK in 2010, up to £8 billion was expected to be spent online at Christmas, approximately a quarter of total retail festive sales. However, despite increased overall spending, Christmas is considered a deadweight loss under orthodox microeconomic theory, because of the effect of gift giving. This loss is calculated as the difference between what the gift giver spent on the item and what the gift receiver would have paid for the item. It is estimated that in 2001, Christmas resulted in a $4 billion deadweight loss in the US alone. Other deadweight losses include the effects of Christmas on the environment and the fact that material gifts are often perceived as white elephants, imposing cost for upkeep and storage and contributing to clutter. Christmas has indeed been the subject of controversy and attacks from various sources throughout history. Historically, it was prohibited by Puritans during their ascendancy in the Commonwealth of England, 1647 to 1660, and in colonial New England where the Puritans outlawed the celebration of Christmas in 1659 on the grounds that Christmas was not mentioned in Scripture and therefore violated the Reformed regulative principle of worship. The Parliament of Scotland, which was dominated by Presbyterians, passed a series of acts outlawing the observance of Christmas between 1637 and 1690. Today, some conservative Reformed denominations such as the Free Presbyterian Church of Scotland and the Reformed Presbyterian Church of North America likewise reject the celebration of Christmas based on the regulative principle and what they see as its non-scriptural origin. Christmas celebrations have also been prohibited by atheist states such as the Soviet Union and more recently majority Muslim states such as Somalia, Tajikistan, and Brunei. Some Christians and organizations such as Pat Robertson's American Center for Law and Justice cite alleged attacks on Christmas, dubbing them a war on Christmas. Such groups claim that any specific mention of the term Christmas or its religious aspects is being increasingly censored, avoided, or discouraged by a number of advertisers, retailers, government, prominently schools, and other public and private organizations. One controversy is the occurrence of Christmas trees being renamed holiday trees. In the US, there has been a tendency to replace the greeting Merry Christmas with Happy Holidays, which is considered inclusive at the time of the Jewish celebration of Hanukkah. In the US and Canada, where the use of the term holidays is most prevalent, opponents have denounced its usage and avoidance of using the term Christmas as being politically correct. In 1984, the US Supreme Court ruled in Lynch v. Donnelly that a Christmas display, which included a nativity scene, owned and displayed by the city of Pawtucket, Rhode Island, did not violate the First Amendment. American Muslim scholar Abdul Malik Mujahid has said that Muslims must treat Christmas with respect, even if they disagree with it. The government of the People's Republic of China officially espouses state atheism, and has conducted anti-religious campaigns to this end. In December 2018, officials raided Christian churches prior to Christmastide and coerced them to close. Christmas trees and Santa Clauses were also forcibly removed. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history and controversies of Christmas. We've explored its origins, traditions, and the various ways it's celebrated around the world. We've also delved into the controversies that have surrounded this holiday. Remember, the spirit of Christmas is about more than just the traditions and controversies we've discussed. It's about kindness, generosity, and spending time with loved ones. So, as you celebrate this season, we hope you carry these values with you. If you enjoyed this video and found it informative, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Spectrum of Wisdom for more insightful content. Leave a comment below about your thoughts on this video or any topics you'd like us to cover in the future. Until next time, stay curious and keep learning. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from all of us at Spectrum of Wisdom.